think we need more speed, Benj. I haven't got any. Ah, we can't even get it up the curb.
For those who are new to the channel, you may not know that we bought this Range Rover L322 a little while ago, and it was purely to be a channel tool. And by channel tool, I mean that we use this car to move stuff about, things such as the engine that were in the Cupra. But since that job, this car has been completely kaput. And by kaput, I mean the gearbox does not work. It doesn't matter if you're in drive, reverse, the car won't move. It literally just revs as if it's in neutral. Hearing our distress, Halfords got on and said, Ben, we want to help. We can send you everything you need for a full engine and gearbox service, which hopefully will sort your issue. So let's see what's been sent. So as you can see, we have absolutely everything for the gearbox service and the engine service, including glow plugs and a fuel filter. There's absolutely everything that we need to hopefully, fingers crossed, fix our Range Rover. And I really do have my fingers crossed, because this car, no joke, I'm not exaggerating here, we've missed this car probably more than anything, because this, as a tool, towing stuff, taking stuff to the tip, all kinds of different things, has been really sorely missed. So fingers crossed, with the help of the parts from Halfords, we can bring our Range Rover back from the dead. And before anyone asks, yes, I am very lucky. I bought my glamorous assistant, Ash. He's going to give me a hand, because genuinely, I have no idea where to start, to be honest. Now what we're going to do first is the gearbox, because I think the engine side of things is going to be a little bit easier. And here we go. Beautifully done, Ash. So obviously the issues are coming from the gearbox. As I mentioned before, when it's in drive or reverse, it literally just revs as if it's in neutral. I've tried flicking it over to manual and doing that as well, but literally nothing whatsoever. Now looking in this pan, this is not good news. Let's have a look at that screwdriver. I would say that that's knackered. That's a lot of metal in there. Brilliant. So you know what's coming now, don't you? In true Evil GT style, the gearbox is Now this is quite a common thing for these gearboxes if they've not been maintained, and I know that the guy who owned this before us actually said to us, listen, I've not done anything with it, I've not serviced the car, so I know his gearboxes are quite expensive, and particularly to refurbish them, they're about £1,500–1,600. The car cost us about £2,000, so it makes no sense to be putting a £1,500 gearbox into this car. So this is the replacement gearbox that we got off eBay, £400. I'm assuming that the torque converter's in there. I have no idea, you guys will know better than me. These are the weakest point of these cars, because apparently the engine is solid. And I think this, last time I checked it, done 140,000 miles. And the engine is still sweet. I mean, it's not particularly fast, but it's sweet. It pulls fine, it goes fine. So hopefully a little bit of TLC on the engine. And we're obviously going to service this replacement gearbox with the Halfords bits, and hopefully we're all good. So as we can see, we've got my resident mechanic who doesn't like being on camera, so say hello to Ash, the grumpy resident mechanic. What we got, what's first here, so you took a heat shield off from up here, and then what's next here? What's
unplugging it.
What are you unplugging?
The electric side of it.
It's going to be a long afternoon this, isn't it? The electric side of what? What's that plugging into there? Is that a torque converter?
No.
What is it? Transfer box? What is it? It is?
Well, it is the transfer box, yeah.
Right, okay, so we're unplugging this bit here, then we've got to take this prop shaft out, I'm assuming, which is some E-bolts, which I will get. By the way, I just do need to stress, don't be watching this video as an instructional video, because I don't know what I'm doing, and he's practically a mute. And then I'm assuming this guard, this big sort of some guard thing for the gearbox and the torque converter's got to come out. I'm guessing that's got to come out, that donut-y type thing that goes into that bit there. It looks a pretty big job, to be honest, so bear with us. So whilst Ash is underneath the car trying to get the last remaining bolts off, I'm going to tell you about Halfords, the guys who have sent us the parts to hopefully help fix our Range Rover. So for those of you who don't know, Halfords now has a range of thousands of different car parts for all your car needs and projects. Halfords is an affordable option on their never beaten on price on thousands of different car parts, promising customers that if they find it cheaper anywhere else, they'll refund them the difference. Their new initiative will grant customers peace of mind that they're getting the best possible deal, ensuring safe motoring for everyone. Not only that, you get free next working day delivery on all orders over £20 and free returns in store. So thanks to Halfords, I'm confident that we will get this Range Rover fixed once and for all. So with most of the other components taken off the gearbox now, the prop shaft is obviously off, as you can see. The guard that goes underneath that bit of the gearbox, whatever that is. Oh, that is, oh no, what, that the transfer box? That's the transfer box, good guess. So there's a guard that goes around that. We are nearly ready to disconnect the bolts at the bell housing side and hopefully have this out. Just in case you're wondering, that's well heavy. We have the transfer box off the old gearbox. There is the old torque converter that was obviously in there. I don't know much about torque converters, to be honest, or gearboxes in general, to be fair. But there is quite a bit of sort of wobbly shakiness on the inside of that torque converter. You probably can't see all that well. What I'm planning or hoping is that we'll be able to at least get this sort of loosely bolted up first on its own, and then add the transfer box to it on, you know, up on the car, because that was real heavy both together. Gearbox is back in, transfer box is back in. So I'm actually not going to do yet is start it up, because this is a gearbox that's brand new to us, but obviously isn't a brand new gearbox. I don't know when it was last serviced, if it's got oil in it. I don't know anything about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the parts that I got from Halfords. I'm going to give this gearbox a good going over first. Whilst I wait for the gearbox fluid to drain out fully, I'm going to make a start on the engine. I'm not going to do the oil just because I need the engine to be running whilst I flush the gearbox oil through. So I'm going to do filters and maybe the glow plugs. I don't know how to do that, but we'll try. And they're all down here. Now, if you've never ordered off Halfords before, it is so easy. You literally just need to put in your car's registration, as you can see just there, and it gives you all the available bits and bobs that you need for your car, ranging from anything like suspension components, service items, as I've got here, bulbs, exhaust bits, all kinds of stuff. So if you check it out, super easy, you get your bits, they arrive within a few days, and here we are, we're good to go. I am absolutely no expert, as you guys very well know, but I would say that that's probably not been changed in quite a while, but it does look like it's been doing its job. I feel like this car wasn't designed for this engine, or this engine wasn't designed for this car. I don't know, because there's so much room in this engine bay, right? But that engine is sat so far back, so much of it is underneath that scuttle panel, that it's just like unnecessary. I've got to the glow plugs, I've got to the little, you know, the plug that sits on top of them, whatever that is called. Now, I've just watched a video of a guy that said that it's a miracle if these come out and they don't snap. So now I've got to this point, which is pretty much like, I'm here now, so I may as well attempt to get them out rather than try and put this thing back together. Now I'm worried that I'm going to end up snapping them, so I have sprayed them all over with WD-40 as best as I can. I'm going to leave that for a few minutes, I'm going to get a drink and come back to him in a minute. So I'm doing my best to not tempt fate here, not get ahead of myself, but that is one glow plug, my first ever glow plug, removed, 5 to go. Last one, definitely the worst one to get to. I probably should have started at the back and worked my way forward, but I started with the easier ones. Time for the nice shiny new ones. All 6 brand new glow plugs are in. Next up, fuel filter. And there we go. Although it doesn't look it because my gloves are filthy, that is the new fuel filter, all in. And now it's time for the bit I have not been looking forward to, getting this intake manifold back on. Fingers crossed, this doesn't take too long. I have never wrestled with anything as much in my life. This is ridiculous. I can't reach anything, that's the problem. And because I've got a bucket underneath that was draining the gearbox fluid out, I can't even point any lower. And to be fair, it wouldn't make any difference anyway. I'm too short people's problems. But anyway, the inlet manifold is back on now. I just need to bolt this in. There's 4 bolts. 2 of them are really easy at the top and 2 are quite awkward. So at least I've moved this out of the way. I should hopefully be able to get to them. I've clipped everything in at the back. It's all bolted in, all of those bolts, all of these 10mm bolts that run along there, they're all in. I think the only thing left then is the engine covers, and that is done. Obviously, I've still got the oil filter to replace. I'm not going to do that until I've drained all the oil out of it and obviously putting fresh oil in. So, and there we have it, all beautifully back together. I'm going to leave this front cover off here just because I've got to get to the oil filter at some point soon. Now let's have a crack at this gearbox. What I'm probably going to do first is empty the engine of the oil, replace the oil filter, and then I'll start on the gearbox, because I need the engine to be running to go through drive and reverse and all that kind of stuff as I'm topping the gearbox oil up. This all makes sense to me in my head, I think. Now, when we bought this Range Rover, the guy we bought it off did say, I haven't serviced it. And usually, you know, like most people, they'd be like, nah, do you know what, mate, I'll probably give this a miss, because he was like, can't find a service history. I don't know for definite when it was serviced. The guy I bought it off said it had been serviced, but he was like, I was taking his word for it. We did see an invoice or two that looked like the sketchiest invoice you've ever seen, like something you've just done yourself. But the colour of this oil is like, that is seriously black. I reckon that has been in there for a very long time. One thing I am surprised about though is how much oil there is. I mean, obviously it's a big engine, but yeah, plenty of oil in this thing. Safe to say that the 25 Newton meters that this oil filter housing recommends was not observed by the previous person who changed this oil filter, because that was ridiculous. So alright, it's been a bit of a tough day today, I would say. Doing something I've not done before, absolute pain in the arse, and it's just at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I thought, oh, I'm on the final stretch now. Get this gearbox oil in. Ah, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I started cleaning up this replacement gearbox sump, which was obviously on the gearbox we just put in it, and it was miles better. I mean, I'm talking, there's no metal in this whatsoever. Obviously I've cleaned it now, so you can't see anything, but I promise you it was pristine. To give you a bit of an idea, this is the one out of the gearbox. You should be able to see all of that silvery, well, I would say goodness, but it's definitely not goodness. So I mean, the magnet is completely covered in the corner there. This one was super, I know it obviously looks clean now, but it was really clean. And then I've realised where I've dropped it, I've gone and bent the edge. So I'm probably not going to be able to get that bang on again. I'm probably going to have to clean this one out and use this. God's sake. So I know I started this myself, but I needed to draft in some help because I wasn't entirely sure what I was doing. And the last thing I wanted to do was break this gearbox as well. So I've got Ash back. Ash the mechanic who doesn't like being on camera. Hopefully we get to fill this up okay. Is it dribbling out?
No, it
needs more. They put the prop shaft right in the way of the filler plug, as you can see just there. So some of these pipes don't actually fit. I'm having my work scrutinised here by Ash. So he asked me how the filter went in, and I was like, I just made a face, and he was like, you worry me, you. I tried this, right, and I looked at the new filter and this filter, and it looked exactly the same.
As long as it clicked in nice.
It didn't click in nice, that's the problem. Can't come out, can it? It's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, we'll soon see.
So I've been demoted to just changing gears now. He won't let me anywhere near a spanner, a socket, or anything that's mechanical. So far, so good. As one issue is potentially solved, which is the gearbox, I have caused another one, which is a coolant problem, which Ash was very quick to point out. It's the pipe that runs through the cooler that cools the exhaust gas return. I had to take that off because I had to fix the exhaust gas pipe, the metal pipe, because the little welds have come undone. But yeah, it's all sorted now. We put a new seal in. There's the old seal, and it was literally knackered. Put a new seal in, put it back in, job is a good one. So far, so good. We're moving. What are we saying, Ash?
Not a great deal.
This, to be fair, is Lee's substitute whilst Lee's still in bed. What time is it? Lee will definitely still be in bed. It's a Saturday morning, he'll well be in bed. Don't go too far because I've left my unit open. I just realised I've just gone past it then and the door's open. But yeah, so we got rid of Lee, who moans a lot, for someone else who moans even more. So you'll enjoy this. And when he doesn't moan, he doesn't speak. I cannot explain to you how happy I am to have this car moving again. This, to me, is a miracle. This is by far the car that we have missed the most. And it's because it's literally a tool, it's a van. It helps us move things around. It's just brilliant. So the fact this is moving again is class. I'm gonna tax it, untax the Porsche, because we don't really use the Porsche. No one in the world has enough money to fucking fuel the Porsche, I'm telling you right now. But I'm gonna take this home and Jesus is kicking some shit out this. That's bad, but I think it needs its head kicking in down the motorway. Ashley's very, very kindly just said to me, if it breaks down, don't ring him, because it's Saturday morning, he's going home now, so fair play. Thank you very much. If you enjoyed watching this video, thank you very much for watching. please do consider liking and subscribing. More importantly, right, not you, but if it weren't for Halfords, we wouldn't have had this car fixed, would we, mate? He's got something to say about that, he just won't say it. But seriously, Halfords, thank you so much. All the gear, everything we've used is just down there. I've fully serviced the engine, fully serviced the replacement gearbox. Everything's working absolutely perfect. Thanks to Ash for helping me out. And yeah, no thanks to Lee, although he's probably going to edit this video. But yes, subscribe, like, hit the bell. I'll see you on the next one.